Yo, what's good, everyone? It's Gizmo here, a little masterclass for AudioActive, right? So I'm going to do a little vlog today, and the subject matter, real simple one, and I hope that some of you, this will help some of you, is writer's block. I've been speaking to young people I work with, as well as people that I know, friends that are a bit older, and they all said that they would benefit from this after I explained what I was doing. So hopefully you'll find this information in this useful, and hopefully you'll find it straightforward. All right, so we're going to start off. What is writer's block? Well, most of you probably know writer's block is the inability to move forward creatively. Yeah, so it could be you're trying to get into something, trying to start writing, and you just haven't got that spark or inspiration. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is, let's look at it slightly differently to start with. You haven't got writer's block, you haven't got a jumping point, or you're not inspired, all right? So I'm going to show you, basically the techniques that we're going to go into are all ways of providing pretty much stimulus to your writing. So a stimulus, if you didn't know, is a thing that arouses activity or energy in something or someone. So like a spur on or an incentive, all right, as well. So what a stimulus is literally that. It stimulate your brain, make you think, I can do this. I've got somewhere to start. Right, so a stimulus can be literally anything. You can draw it from anywhere, but we're going to start off real easy, okay? So old school technique of getting over writer's block. I think I've read about this one in more of a literary sense, but it still works exactly the same way for if you're writing raps or writing a song, all right? And what that is you start off by writing a word, a sentence, and then a paragraph. Okay, completely random and just quick. Let the pen flow off, right? So you write one word, one sentence, and one paragraph. Now, the first benefit that you can get from this is it literally just unclogs your brain, and you start working straight away. You don't have to do anything more. You do that, and you're in there. You're like, right, yeah, okay. Now, if you sit there and write these things real quick, take 30 seconds. Now you've already got a bunch of words to look at to start with. They might not kick things into action, but it's something there. So let's say if we write one word, that's circus. One sentence. Yesterday I looked at some bears. It could be anything, and then the paragraph could be, I went over to the shops, bought a can of Coca-Cola. The guy in the shop was very pleasant and served me with a smile. Yeah, it could literally be anything. So when we look back, we've got words to draw on there, okay, and ideas. Now, I know that no one's going to be sitting there thinking, oh yeah, I'll write about a circus. Of course you're not going to write about a circus, but you might use it as a jumping idea. You might even use the scheme and find something else. Circus, purpose, but it's just using that as a start point to jump off. Or you could use it as a concept, yeah? You could say, you could use it as a metaphor, all right? Talking about the world or something that you feel is like a circus or the clowns, It's straightforward there. And then again, the same thing with the sentence in the paragraph, right? Was I talking about looking at bears or something in the sentence? That's not nothing too inspiring, but again, yeah, the word bear has a lot of meanings, and I can just go off there and just riff about and just work out some ideas, all right? So you're just drawing from a word, all right? Sometimes it's like you might even have a word where it's like, oh, that could be the title of the track. Again, like say if I go with circus, you don't need to write about a circus, but you can sort of work out the context of where you're going to move the writing to, okay? So sometimes it's just as simple as having one word and being like, yeah, I can go with that, yeah? Or even if you can't go with it for a whole song, going with it for a longish scheme and then seeing what else fits that theme, Just trying to work around the kind of difficulties and just get something new, a new idea down on the page so that you can work around with it. So Another way of doing this, right? What I talked about with the word, sentence, and paragraph is just an unblocking, really. And sometimes with writing, if you're in a particular type of mood, thinking too hard can literally be a hindrance. So there's another sort of technique that I like to sometimes use, which can get some really good bits of writing out of, and it's called just flowing and editing, right? So what I will do, there's the obvious thing of just freestyling along to whatever beat you're writing to and writing things down and stuff. That's cool, but this is a bit different. So what I would usually do in these circumstances is put a beat on and just take a deep breath and just write as quick as not as quick as I can, but just let the pen do its thing, right? Trying to rhyme and connect things, but not thinking too deeply about it, right? And what happens in this instance is, by the end of a minute or two, you've got a whole page of a stream of consciousness on the page here that doesn't necessarily structurally match the music or the song, but it's there. Okay, it might hit in points. So then your task after that, you can go back and edit it, or just pull anything you like. And going back over things and editing them sometimes is enough, just to get that really something that you wouldn't have expected to get into a tune before, or a feeling or a thought. That's, whoa, this is actually, I've just put it really simply, and I've managed to go back over it and make it all fit nice. All right, and that means you can, if your ideas are translating and people are picking them up and understanding them on the other end, that's half the struggle in music. If you write something and people can just get with it and understand what you're talking about, that's perfect. That's so sometimes just writing a real simple stream of consciousness and then editing afterwards it's a really like easy way of going about things. Sometimes if it's depending on, again, it's all down to mood and stuff, all right, because that can be a big thing. So let's go back. So we've spoken about the flow and edit technique, all right, and writing down a word, sentence, and paragraph, and drawing from them, yeah. And again, a word association with that as well is another thing you can do. So let's go back to that circus idea. You can write circus down on a page and do a kind of like a spider diagram where you can draw all the lines out and think of all the words associated with it. And you know what, again, even if you don't use it, you might get an idea out of it. And sometimes it's about putting the framework in rather than being straight in with the creative stuff, all right? I'll get to that in a minute. So, right, one of the other really important things is challenging yourself, all right? So I think sometimes it's really easy to slip into habits with writing. For example, if I throw on a hip hop beat and just start rapping about how cool I am, that's so easy for me to do. That's my comfort zone, I'm not, there's nothing's going to go wrong. It's safe, you know what I mean? I can just deal with that. That's no problem. So sometimes if I'm to feel inspired, it's not going to be in that place. So maybe put a different genre of music on. Won't just play a hip hop boom bap beat or play something else. Maybe change the pace, Maybe if you're used to rapping at 90 BPM, put something on that's 140, and don't just challenge yourself. Don't put barriers up for yourself. I can't rap like that. Everyone can. If you can spit to 80, 90, you can spit to anything. Just it's the same with singing as well. As long as you can keep clear and keep the messages clear, just test yourself. Step outside of your own comfort zone, challenge yourself, because this is what's gonna get you excited, right? When you're progressing. Okay, so there's another little thing about stepping out of your comfort zone I want to say. So when people are writing, there's 3 different sort of ways of writing physically, right? You can write on a pen and a bit of paper. You can write on a keyboard, like on a computer or a laptop, and you can write on your phone. And all 3 have different advantages and disadvantages, right? So what I would suggest, if you write with a pen and paper, try writing on your phone. If you write on your laptop, pick up a pen. The difference as well is knowing about all 3 and what's the advantages of each one. So obviously with phone and laptop, you can copy and paste things about, and you can get organizational, right? You can sort of you can see the order of things as they are, all right, and you can move it around and keep it nice and clean. Whereas a piece of paper, I will write and write and write, and it's going to be a mess. So I'll have another piece of paper to write out on, for example, right? But I use all of them, and the results are always different. I always get different type of tracks from writing on paper and writing in my phone. Again, the phone is a really good tool as well, because when you're out and about, what can be really helpful is just writing notes everywhere. Yeah, if I think of a line in my head, I've got my phone, I pull it out and write it in. If I'm just bored, I'm traveling somewhere, I can start scheming, write a scheme down, you know. And with these little lists, we can use them as a foundation framework, all right. And if you are taking notes in your phone, or taking notes in general, it doesn't have to be on your phone. When you have got a writer's block coming up, or you're just feeling like you can't push forward with something, you've got all these ideas. You've got framework and foundation, and like I say, if you're just listing schemes, for example, it's just filling the blanks. You know, if you've got a scheme there, you can just start writing. You've got it there. You know, it's as simple as that. Sometimes it's just about keeping things straightforward. All right. Sometimes it's just about looking around and just going, I can't start. Oh, look, there's a radiator. Lazy natured. Yo, you know, you start scheming, riffing, thinking of words and ideas where you can get started. I could sit here and think of a silly simile for the radiator or whatever. It doesn't, you know what I mean? There's no rules, no limits. Just have a bit of fun with yourself. And sometimes, if you're writing, don't always write to finish a song. Just write for the sake of writing, just to keep your brain sharp. You know, it's important to just keep going like that. And when I'm on the subject of scheming, like I say, that can be a really good way. Just finding rhymes that go with each other and then filling the blanks later. But I will note that John Set, my colleague, has made a really good app called Rhymewaver. That's rhymewave.com, RHYMEWAVE.com. And basically, it's a multisyllabic rhyming dictionary, which is interactive, has 3 different ways of finding words on there, and has a lot of schemes on there. So if you're stuck, try John's app out, try his website, and see what works for you on there. I really recommend that, especially if you're just getting into writing. There's a lot of schemes on there, and it really, you know, it's a really good way of, if you're stuck, of just getting that spark going on. All right. So yeah, as I say, you can list schemes. You can literally, you don't even have to list schemes. You can list something that's all got one theme. All right. A few years ago, I'd done a track called Brit Flicks. Yeah. And all I did, I couldn't write, so I sat in the car and I just wrote down all the British films that I could think of on my phone in a list. All right. And that took no time at all. 15 minutes. Right. Got a lot of films on there. So then after that, I went back to the list and I put all the films that sound similar, have similar rhyme schemes close to each other. All right. So then out of one list, now I've got a few small lists, and then started building kind of around that as a theme. So all I'm doing is just listing off films through the 2 verses, and just, you know, using the film titles as like descriptives and things. So it's like, literally, again, it's the framework, just putting a list together of things and coming back to it later, you know. It's literally, you could write someone's name, you know, and it could be a hook, or you could write about their personality, or you could use their name to scheme. It's literally so straightforward sometimes when you've been thinking for a really long time, and the most simple idea will give you that eureka moment, all right? So I'm going to get to the most important tip of all now, and that is, don't beat yourself up about it, all right? If you're having trouble writing, don't worry. It will come back, yeah? Sometimes you just need to take a rest and just chill out and not worry about things, all right? Sometimes you need to do life rather than be creative, yeah? Sometimes the brain needs to be a sponge rather than you just expelling all the time. So sometimes just kick back and absorb things, you know, and just let that happen, let that process happen. Listen to other music, maybe some things that you wouldn't listen to usually. But it's really important that you're not hard on yourself. You take a rest and you don't beat yourself up if you can't get in, really can't get into it. But I do hope that some of the tips that I've shared in this video help loosen you up, and you can get your pen game up to scratch, all right? All you budding writers, singers, rappers, everything, all right? Thank you ever so much for your time, and take care.